Hello, this is Newsfeed. The Israeli offensive into Gaza is now in its third week. Tel Aviv has warned that it will intensify its attacks on northern Gaza, and the bombardment has spilled into the occupied West Bank with airstrikes on a mosque. Israeli raids in the occupied West Bank are an almost daily occurrence. But airstrikes are uncommon in the territory controlled by Hamas's rival Fatah. At least 2 people were killed and several injured in the late-night attack on Sunday. Israel claims it was targeting Hamas members. Deadly violence has surged across the territory since Hamas conducted an attack on Israel on October 7th. Scores of Palestinians have been killed in the occupied West Bank, and hundreds have been arrested. Anger is growing and tension is mounting.
2 days ago, the military forces raided Nablus during the daytime, and they shot many Palestinians. They used live ammunition to kill, to shoot, to confirm the killing of many Palestinians. The Palestinians all over West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem were very sad, and they announced a strike yesterday. There is a huge anger among the Palestinians from what is happening these days from the Israeli racist and fascist government, who are inciting to kill more and more Palestinians.
Since the conflict began, Israel has unleashed its wrath on Gaza, bombarding the tiny enclave and cutting off supplies. Thousands of Gazans have been killed. More than half of the fatalities are women and children. Israel says an imminent ground invasion could last 1, 2, or even 3 months. The destruction and suffering in Gaza is already immense. 8 trucks trickled in at the weekend, but it's hardly enough to meet basic needs.
As you know, it's becoming impossible to buy bread nowadays. Some bakeries got bombed, and not all bakeries are working or functioning. And even if a bakery is working, you literally have to stand in line for 3 hours or more to be able to buy bread. So those who can, they do bread in their homes.
6 كيلو يعني ما يعادل نص ساعة من المشي المتواصل، عشان شايفين كل هدول الناس بيستنوا دورهم، كبار صغار نساء كلهم بيستنوا دورهم.
واخيرا يا جماعة عبيناه بعد معاناة.
طبعا يا جماعة في ناس بتجيب الجلن وبتعبي في جلن أكبر منه زي ما انتم شايفين في الصورة.
The need for aid and for it to be delivered quickly is crucial. The UN says it needs 100 trucks a day, but Israel has only allowed in a fraction of that and threatened to stop aid and target trucks if Hamas handles the distribution of food and other supplies. Palestinians say the conditions they're enduring are very difficult.
Biden and the Israeli and Egyptian parties approved that the supplies and aids and medical and food and water supplies could enter Gaza, but with one condition, is that anything related to the terrorists could not touch the supplies or managing, using it, or getting close to the supplies. And if they get close, Israel will bomb the food and the water and everything. So, if they're considering my government, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Labor, the police, and any other legal entity as terrorists, who is gonna manage to distribute, who is gonna guard the whole operation, manage it? I mean, we need police, we need tables to distribute, we need everything related to the government. So, they are simply telling us that we approve to enter all these things to Gaza, but not Gaza. How? Who's gonna manage the operation?
Like those social media accounts on the ground in Gaza, many online pro-Palestinian voices have to battle platform guidelines and Israeli social media propaganda to get the truth out, many of which come directly from Israel's official accounts on various platforms. Since October 7th, social media has been flooded with paid messages from Israel. The government started a vast propaganda campaign online to shape international public opinion. Their ads targeted audiences in Europe and the US and came with very specific messaging.
So I'm going to show you an ad that I was served, paid for by the Israeli government on Twitter or X. Now pause to read, and I really want you to focus in on that first sentence. They went from house to house. They. That is, in no doubt, atrocity propaganda, which is a technique that is used to try and gain support for war. Notice how it says they rather than Hamas. Now, that lack of distinction was intentional to try and conflate the Palestinian people with Hamas. This is to encourage the dehumanization, demonization and vilification of Palestinian people. The language was very, very carefully chosen to galvanize the emotions of the audience, in this case me, to try and garner my support for the actions of the Israeli government and the IDF.
Now, Jess in that video is not the only person who got one of those targeted ads. Journalist Sophia Smith-Galler was also getting those and looked further into it. Using an analytics tool, she found out Israel spent nearly $7.1 million just on YouTube ads.
Have you been targeted ads from Israel's foreign ministry lately? I've discovered using an analytics tool that they have spent over $7 million on YouTube ads in the past fortnight. What we can learn from it is that France, the UK and Germany really have taken the lion's share of that ad spend. About $6.8 million of that big total was spent on those three countries. And if you're wondering, what does nearly $7.1 million actually mean in terms of how many people have seen it, it equals to nearly 1 billion impressions. To show how an ad campaign can look over a couple of weeks, here is an example from the UK where $1.1 million have been spent. I go into this more in my Twitter thread, I'm not going to show anything here, but Politico reported this week that Google removed 30 ads from this account with horrifying images after Politico reached out to Google for comment. I have to say that in the past week doing my investigation, I've seen videos with very graphic content appear and get monetized. Are people and groups on all sides of the conflict trying to inundate the internet with their messaging right now? Of course, but they're not often or always ads which big platforms take profit from. And certainly not everyone's marketing budget has a spare $7 million.
It's not just YouTube. Israel's foreign ministry has run 30 ads on X, formerly known as Twitter, and those garnered over 4 million views according to the platform's stats. But it's not just the ads. The country's regular posts have also been criticized heavily. Take this post, for example, where Israel claims Taylor Swift's bodyguard has returned to fight for his country. Users blame the post for associating a celebrity with the conflict in what seems to be an effort to profit off their name. And here, it's the language that got people. Many users quoting the post criticize Israel's use of meme language as dystopian. Despite the shadow bans on pro-Palestine arguments on social media and the full backing of many traditional media outlets, Israel may be losing its grip on the narrative. And that may be why it's overcompensating on social media.
Let's play a game. Put a finger down if you've had rockets launched at your home.
This video is incredibly grotesque. Whilst nearly 5,000 Palestinian civilians are dead in the Gaza Strip as a result of Israeli bombings, Israel is having its military appear on TikTok and take part in trends. And it's very obvious and overt Israeli propaganda, and I want to explain to you why. Now, first of all, Israel is hopping on a TikTok trend because it's likely to garner views from apolitical people who don't really care about Palestine and may just be scrolling through and like the trend. Second of all is Israel's massive advantage. Now, Israel is a settler colony, but it's not really a colony of any specific place. However, it was populated from 1882 onwards largely by Europeans. But the dominant strain of Zionism has always been inherently European because this is a European colonialist project. This has always been an advantage to Israel because whilst it's not really a direct colony of anywhere and has no metropole overseeing what it does, it has this advantage of being European, of the people who live there being culturally European and similar to us. And this means that videos like this, they can get one of their American Israeli people who is a native English speaker, which is obviously attractive on TikTok, and also the fact that she is young and attractive and Western looking, which appeals to Western sensibilities as opposed to the barbarous Arabs and the savages that we've heard about from the media.
Israeli government officials have also been criticized for their dehumanizing rhetoric towards Palestinians. These news clips of Israeli officials have come under scrutiny online over their use of genocidal and hateful language.
And what about those Palestinians in hospital who are on life support, and babies and incubators whose life support and incubator will have to be turned off because the Israelis have cut the power to Gaza?
Are you seriously keep on asking me about Palestinian civilians? What's wrong with you? Have you not seen what happened? We're fighting Nazis. Now, the world can come and bring them anything they want. If you want to bring them electricity, I'm not going to feed electricity or water to my enemies. If anyone else wants, that's fine. We're not responsible for them.
This is the point.
But you
this
keep
is the
on.
point.
I want to tell you. No, listen. You listen to me right now. I've heard you enough.
No, I understand. We're trying to have a conversation here. Listen, this is my program. This is my show. And I am asking the questions. You're raising your voice.
What's the view on the humanitarian crisis in Gaza this morning?
There is no humanitarian crisis because...
There isn't?
There is no.
We have been showing images this morning that illustrate that there is a humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
So blame Hamas.
In destroying Hamas, you will destroy Gaza. Do you accept that that is...
I don't accept that. I don't accept
your
that.
campaign? Well,
I don't accept that.
You yourself
I think
say
that
Hamas
I don't
hides
accept
in
the rationale.
hospitals. So
We
what are those
structure
high-rise
Hamas
buildings we've
targets in
seen
Gaza.
destroyed? In Beit Hanun,
They are
on the
Hamas
border that I've
targets.
seen with my own eyes.
They are Hamas targets.
What, all of the buildings?
Western media's coverage has ignited a fiery debate. CNN, in particular, found itself in the eye of the storm, garnering both criticism and praise on social media. Some viewers accused the network of showing bias in favor of Israel, while others applauded it for balanced reporting. A recent viral video captured a charged encounter at the Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt. Egyptian podcaster and stand-up comic Rama Zain confronted CNN's chief international correspondent Clarissa Ward, calling for a more human approach to reporting.
Where are your condemnations? Where's your channel covering this? Cover this! Say the truth. We understand you're an employee. You're just a puppet. You're just a mouthpiece. Come talk to me like a human being. Come talk to me like a human being. Thank you. I understand you have your foreign policy. No, I've heard you. I've heard you. You hear me. I understand you have your foreign policy. I understand you speak for your government. I understand you represent your government. But that being said, you're a country that's claimed free speech. Your customized democracy is actually what led to Hamas. And now we are watching an occupation, and we are watching the result of your silence, of your misrepresentation.
A CNN spokesperson came to the network's and Clarissa Ward's defense, who later interviewed Zain. CNN says encounters like the one with the Cairo protester are integral to their mission, and the network continues to provide a platform for various voices affected by the Israel-Hamas conflict, including numerous Palestinian perspectives. But it wasn't just Clarissa Ward who faced protesters. CNN's Sarah Sidner also encountered a passionate critic in the occupied West Bank who voiced opposition to what they perceived as support for genocide.
You are not welcome here, genocide supporters! CNN! CNN!
All right, you see that people are very angry. They do not like the way in which that CNN has been reporting the story. You hear that.
The controversy surrounding CNN continues, with yet another viral video surfacing, seemingly suggesting that correspondent Clarissa Ward and her crew staged a rocket attack.
Perfect. To get nice and close. Get the camera nice and close.
That's the Iron Dome. Okay, that's the
Iron Dome. Look around, Jerry. Just look around as if you're in danger. Try and look nice and scared. Yeah, that's it. Catching your breath. Dead scary over here with all the bombs going off and all that.
This eyebrow-raising clip filmed in the vicinity of the Israel-Gaza border raised suspicions due to the accompanying audio track. In response, fact-checkers and the network swiftly addressed the situation, asserting that the audio in the video, which had been widely circulated on X, was not only fabricated but also inaccurate.
We have to stay here.
Oh, and be a darling and patch me through to Clarissa's mom.
The people of Gaza are currently enduring collective punishment at the hands of the Israelis, facing a humanitarian crisis amid shortages of food, water, and electricity. We leave you with some avenues to donate much-needed aid. The UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees is urgently seeking $104 million to support its humanitarian response over the next 90 days. Then there's the Palestine Red Crescent Society. It's one of the largest healthcare service providers in Palestine. The Turkish Disaster and Emergency Management Authority, better known as AFAD, is also routing aid there. All these groups have been working tirelessly to support Palestinians. Remember, any donation, big or small, helps. And that's it for today. See you soon.